Clipper Nation, please welcome the Clippers President of Business Operations, Gillian Zucker.
Good afternoon, Clipper Nation. Thanks for joining us today. I know it's been an extremely challenging few months, and I hope you're doing well and keeping your family safe as the pandemic continues. It's really, really great to be here with so many of you, and I have definitely missed seeing your faces at games. But you've done your part to stay connected, which I say with conviction because of your emails and calls to me, to Steve, to your service reps. While we've received hundreds, they all fall into basically three buckets recently. Disappointment for sure. Suggestions. It seems like we have a large number of excellent GM and coaching prospects among us. And finally, questions. What are we going to do to get us where we want to be? But what is a constant in all of them, no matter how frustrated the fan, is hope. And I think that's because we have built a winning culture here, and we will not stop improving ever. Not after that first chip, never. So thanks truly to all of you who have reached out. Your emails, your calls, and moments like this when we all come together remind us of the strength, resiliency, and commitment of Clipper Nation. And we're excited to share with you today our path forward to win it all. Now, before we get to the main man, and while we're on the topic of winning, I would be remiss if I didn't remind you of our nonpartisan LA Voters Win program, and that there are only 13 days remaining before your last day to vote. Our new building in Inglewood, the LA Forum, will be hosting in-person voting and accepting drop-off mail-in ballots starting this Saturday through November 4th. In addition, Toyota Arena, home of the Agua Caliente Clippers in Ontario, will be hosting in-person voting Monday through Friday next week. You can learn more at lavoterswin.com. I also wanted to provide answers to a couple of your most popular questions. Top of mind for many of you is when the new season will begin. I can assure you the league office is diligently working to develop a plan in concert with teams. While the NBA did an absolutely incredible job with the Orlando bubble, that is not going to be the new normal. Instead, the focus is how we can safely create an environment to play in front of fans. League experts and consultants believe there are many tools that seem to be within reach now to achieve that goal. Rapid testing, therapeutics, potential vaccines, access to masks and other PPE, as well as brick and mortar solutions. In fact, Staples has received GBAC accreditation, the gold standard for prepared facilities, after implementing the most stringent protocols to mitigate biorisk, leading the way to protect everyone once it's safe to host events again. And we hope that will be in the months ahead. But let's be honest, the biggest question you want answered is how we are going to deliver that long-awaited championship to Clipper Nation. After all, that's why you're here today. Now, I have already had the chance to hear Ty Lue's vision directly from him, and we thought you should have that chance too. After today, I'm certain you will leave convinced as I did that Steve and Lawrence found the best leader for our team. Ty has won as a player and he's won as a coach. He has experienced and delivered the euphoria that comes with winning it all at the highest level. And he understands that we are all on this journey to deliver that to you. To get us started, it is my pleasure to introduce from Fox Sports, the voice of the Clippers, Brian Sieman.
Gillian, I appreciate it. And boy, it's a very exciting day for the Clippers. I want to welcome and echo your sentiments of welcoming our sponsors and our ticket holders. I miss everybody, and I hope everybody is staying safe, wearing a mask, washing your hands, fingers crossed that we can see each other at Staples Center, hopefully in the near future. I'm about to introduce our guest, the most exciting part of the day, but I want to point out that after I get done with a brief Q&A, you guys will be able to ask whatever questions that you want to ask. So raise your virtual hand if you know how to do that, and we will get to the questions as they come in. So without any further delay, it is an honor to introduce our panelists here this afternoon. We'll start with the chairman of the Los Angeles Clippers, Steve Ballmer. Of course, Clippers president of basketball operations, Lawrence Frank, and the newly minted head coach, Tyronn Lue. Quick Q&A here for you guys. And, I'll start with Steve and Lawrence. It's been needless to say, it's been a crazy 9 months. We could really boil it down to a crazy 5 weeks. Steve, I'll start with you. What is your takeaway from the season? And Lawrence, I'd like to hear from you as well.
Well, let me say a couple things. Obviously, for all of us, our fans, our players, our staff, this notion of a broken up season with a bubble at the end was difficult. It was a pain in the neck, not what we all wanted in many ways. I do want to salute the NBA, the NBA Players Association, and Disney. I spent about a month myself in what I'll call the alternate bubble, the sacrosanct bubble of players and coaches I never was able to enter, but I just can't believe what a good job they did prioritizing health and at least letting us all enjoy some basketball here over the last few months. Now, with all that said, we did not wind up where we wanted to go, where we intended to go. And it wasn't just that we didn't win. We didn't play the kind of basketball we want to play. We didn't represent Clipper Nation the way we want to represent Clipper Nation. And, so at the end of the season, we all have to, from me and everyone else in the organization, you have to ask the question, what do we need to do to get better? How do we push ourselves? Whether it's in-game players, rosters, player development, all of those things, we will do our best to just keep coming and thinking it through and taking actions and being better. Because if you will, if we're not competing for championships and winning championships, we're never going to meet my goal, and I know none of your goals for where you want to see our team over the course of the next several years. We're in it for 1 year. This is a multi-year journey. We've got a roster that can sustain itself. We've got great leadership from talents like PG and Kawhi. And so while we didn't achieve what we wanted to, I'm confident with moves we've made and will make, and the hiring of Ty, which you hear a little bit about later on this afternoon, that we can get to where we want to get. I don't know when the season's going to restart, and we may restart the season before we can get fans in seats. We want to get fans in seats. The league is working on that. The league is working on a restart. It's working with the Players Association. And when the league has a point of view and us as owners have a chance to buy in addition to the players who are partners, we'll let you know what's going on. Until then, what we're going to do is we're going to get prepared. Our players, our coaching staff, we are absolutely going to get prepared. And I'm going to dream in my mind of that day, hopefully not too long from now, when we all can say again, Clipper Nation, make some noise. Back to you, Brian.
Lawrence, I'll ask you the same question again. It was a crazy year all the way around, but really the last 5 weeks, I think, is where everything peaked. Take me into your thought process and what you took away, Lawrence, from this season.
Yeah, I mean, to echo Steve's thoughts, I think, look, the season didn't end the way that we wanted. There was extreme disappointment. It's not just falling short of your expectations, but how we fell short. Personally, really disappointed, our group in the sense we pride ourselves in being a tough, resilient, gritty group, and we weren't. We were up 3-1. We had multiple opportunities, and yet when the rubber met the road, we didn't respond the way that we always pride ourselves on. And so with that, you have to look within. And I think, Steve's point, we all own this. I own this. You have to look at every facet of the operation of what we need to do better. Sometimes you need failure, pain, embarrassment to drive you to get to your ultimate goal. And I think this was humbling for all of us. Not that I think our organization is based on humility, but I do think that we, starting with me, have to look in areas where we have to get better and need to get better. And, we are going to use this pain as one of the driving forces to make improvements throughout the organization. So disappointing, but yet I think we're all even more driven to be able to accomplish our goal.
So change came pretty swiftly after the season ended, and Doc Rivers did so many wonderful things for this organization. I'd like to hear from both Steve and Lawrence. Steve, I'll start with you. Take me through the process and how difficult that was to part ways with Doc Rivers, who did, again, he just elevated the organization from the day he got there, and it's a much better place than when he left.
Now, Doc's amazing. Everybody knows Doc's an amazing coach. Doc, for me, was an amazing mentor, kind of bringing me in, if you will, as a team chairman. And I really appreciated that. Doc is a special person in so many ways, and we get a chance to see that. With all that said, upon reflection and good positive discussions with Doc at the end of the season, we concluded mutually that it was the right time for us to take a different kind of a step. And for me, a big deal. We've never hired a coach in my time with the Clippers. And we ran a thorough process, and that's why we're here today, is to talk about the consequence of all that. And our star of the moment today, Ty Lue.
Lawrence, you coached with Doc in Boston. You coached with him when you got here in 2014 with the Clippers. Again, what was that process like for you, trying to see the big picture?
Yeah, along the lines of what Steve said. Look, we love Doc. Doc's an incredible coach. Incredible leader who led this franchise through really turbulent times at different moments. And so there's still love there. There's still respect there. And yet it's time we both move forward. And this is the nature of the business. And we're extremely excited that Ty is going to be able to build on the legacy that Doc started here. And we're extremely fortunate to be able to say that Ty Lue's, the new head coach of the LA Clippers.
Steve, you touched on it. This was your first coaching search, and it wasn't one that happened over a weekend. It took a couple of weeks. Tell me about the process and the thorough process that you guys had looking for a head coach.
Well, number one, I'll say we didn't start until Doc and I had reached a point of view on what we're going to do. We knew Ty. We know the talent that is Ty, and yet I wanted to see what the talent looks like across the league. People who've been head coaches, people who've never been head coaches, because when we look Ty in the eye, if he was going to be our coach, I wanted to be able to look in the eye and say two things. Ty, you're the best of the best, and Ty, I want you to be the best of all time. The first one I wanted to make sure of now. The second one, that becomes in Ty's hands. And we, Lawrence and his team interviewed a number of candidates. I got a chance to meet a few. I would tell you, I'm really impressed with the quality of coaches, particularly young assistant coaches around the league. It's a diverse group of people, and it gives me optimism for what the future of the league looks like from a coaching perspective. But after all of that, I was sure, Lawrence was sure. We knew, as they say, what good, great, excellent looks like, and I'm excited. I'm excited to see Ty do his magic along with the great group of players and staff we have here.
Lawrence, it's kind of a unique position for you. You're used to being on the other side of that desk and being interviewed. This was also your first time looking for a head coach. Walk me through your process and what you were looking for.
Yeah, I think before you even put names on the board as a leadership group, we all got together and defined the qualities we're looking for, not just in a head coach, but in a Clipper organizational leader. And I think you first have to start with some of those guidelines. And I think the great thing in terms of, working with Steve and what he was looking for in his head coach and how it's aligned in terms of kind of what the vision is. And then once you outline that, then it becomes a little bit easier to plot some of the names that you want to learn more about. Credit to Steve and that he really pushed us to really have an open mind. And obviously, look, I've been fortunate in that I've known Ty a long, long time. I mean, some of it involved pain, especially like probably 13 years ago when he hit a game-winning shot against the Nets when he was with the Hawks. But I've had the unique benefit of seeing Ty coach the best of the best. And Ty has a very, very unique gift of being able to hold guys accountable, tell them the truth, and yet still lift their confidence. And that's an art. And the reason I bring that up is having been a former coach and knowing what my own personal deficiencies were, is to be able to see Ty when he was just getting into coaching, to be able to do that. I always marveled at it. And then the other unique perspective was we spent 74 days in the bubble. And it's unique from a front office perspective in that, you give the coaches their space for their meetings, but every team setting, I was fortunate to be there. So it's just through observations. Now, we weren't expecting what happened to happen, but it came very much in handy. But to Steve's point, we brought in some really, really good candidates. And yet at the end of the day, the best candidate was the guy that was under our own roof.
You mentioned it. There were a lot of candidates, a lot of special coaches out there. What was Ty? What made him stand out above the rest? Yeah,
Ty is really, really unique in that he's sometimes, and this is probably more, we're all guilty of it. We put people in boxes, right? Ty can't be put in a box. He's a thinker. He's a connector. He's a great strategist. And he's always had the gift, whether it was as a player or now as a head coach, where he gets people to buy in and people want to do well for him, which is very unique. He has a feel for the game, second to none. And when I mean feel for the game, he sees things very quickly during the game. There are some coaches that are unbelievable after the fact, like in that film session the next day. Ty has the ability to see it during the game and to make those necessary adjustments. He also, because he loves ball and he watches basketball, 24/7, his preparation skills are tremendous to put yourself in a great position before the game has even started. I think Ty brings a very, very unique perspective because former point guard who played with the greats of the greats of his generation, and then to coach some of the great players. And yet Ty, even though he thinks he was a great player, right? Ty was runner up for sixth man of the year. Okay. He reinforced that with me, but he brings a great perspective because he was a rotation player. Ty was a very good NBA player, but he wasn't an all-star, but so I think he brings a unique perspective to be able to relate to all players. And like I said, the thing that's always blown me away, Brian, is his truth-telling without creating scars, which is in coaching, that's really, really hard. And I have a ton of respect for Ty and so happy to be calling him a partner in the head coach of the Clippers.
But without further delay, let's get to the man of the hour, Tyronn Lue. Congrats, Ty. I've been lucky to be around you not only this past year, but in 2013 and 14. I know that I was very excited when I heard the news. And I know that it wasn't a slam dunk on the Clippers end because you had a lot of options. There were a lot of teams that were courting you because of the work that you had done in Cleveland. Tell me what it was about the Clippers that stood out to you that made you want to be a head coach with the Clippers.
I think the first thing, Brian, thank you again, was, when I was here in 2013, 14, had a chance to, meet with Mr. Ballmer and just seeing everything that he did for the organization, how he tried to turn it around and how he wanted everyone to be okay in a family-like environment. And when you have an owner who is so genuine for people and to people, it makes it a family environment. And I love that the most. Now, fast forward 6 years later, coming back and being able to be on the staff and work with Doc and just getting a feel for all the players, how the organization has changed over those 6 years with Mr. Ballmer being the lead of that. It's amazing. And I love the group of guys we have here from 1 to 17. I love our ownership. I love the business part of it. I love Lawrence, like I said, because Lawrence in Boston took me under his wing and taught me the defense and how to work and how to prepare scout reports. And so it's been a long journey, but along that journey, I've had a chance to be with a lot of people in this organization, with Jerry West, with Lawrence, with Mark Hughes, with Trent Redding. So it's like coming home to family. And the roster we have is amazing. It's great. The ownership is great. The family oriented situation is great. So that played a big role in me wanting to come here and be a part of this team.
So you mentioned you got to know this team, you've seen their talent, you've seen what they've been able to do. How can you build off of that going into next season?
I think it's like having a cheat sheet. You kind of come in, you sit back, and helping Doc in every way I could, and just being able to see the team, seeing the flaws that we have, what we can get better at, seeing guys' personalities and what works and what doesn't work with this guy. So for me, it was like a slam dunk because I got a cheat sheet. I got a chance to come in and kind of see, how guys are, how guys respond, and not knowing this was going to happen. But then, that it did, I was able to kind of see the guys and understand, if you can holler at certain guys or be, low key with certain guys. So it's really great, and having an opportunity to be in this situation. Like I said, having a year under my belt with these guys and getting rapport with PG, Kawhi, Marcus, and Trez and Lue and those guys has been great.
In your view, what happened? What went wrong this season?
I think it was a few things. I think one of the biggest things is just health. I think PG having the 2 shoulder surgeries right before training camp, not being able to participate. Kawhi wasn't able to participate fully in training camp as well. PG missed the first 11 games of the season, and it took him a while to kind of get his flow. And then when he got his rhythm, he pulled his hamstring, so he was out again. And then also, when PG was playing his best basketball for the Clippers, he was healthy, he was playing great, he was in great shape. Then the COVID happened. And then once the COVID happened, it kind of set everyone back again. So I just think just being together, having the chemistry and the continuity on the floor. Once we got to the bubble, we had some incidents that was very tragic, with Trez's grandmother and, Pat Beverly's best friend. Lue had a situation. So, they missed multiple days in the bubble. They kind of lost their being in shape and the kind of camaraderie was kind of forming of having that 3 weeks before the game started to practice and kind of getting to know each other and get a good feel after being off for so long. That hurt us as well.
Well, I know I speak for everybody. We're super fired up for whenever the season will begin. I appreciate the candor from all of you. Now we're going to take some questions from our Zoom audience. Raise your virtual hand and we will get to you and get to as many questions as we can. We've got one that came in, a very wordy question from Ruben, so pay attention. Accountability is key in team-based accomplishments, but it can also be a hollow concept if we just use the word without any substance. What is that substance for you, and what does it mean for players and coaches and strategies would you use to improve this for next year?
Accountability is a big word that everyone just kind of throws around. But for me, it just means respect. I think respecting someone's time, being on time for practice, being on time for the plane, respecting from the owner to the janitor. Respect is a big part of it. And it's 4 letters that I always use. And it's PACE, it's PACE, preparation, accountability, communication, and execution. And you have to be able to do those 4 things to be great. And that's what I'm going to preach over the course of this next season. I think the guys are bought in. They're very eager to get started. And I think, what happened this year left a bad taste in everyone's mouth, including me, because I was a part of it. So we're ready to get back to work. We're excited. Talk to all the guys. They're excited. And we just want to put a fun brand of basketball on the floor, and we want to win.
Next question comes from Philip. Philip, it's a 2-parter. Are you excited to coach in the best arena on the planet? And tell us about what you expect from the fans. That's part 1. And I think the most important part of this question is, being from Kansas City, what is your favorite barbecue spot?
Gates.
That is the correct answer.
That's
that
right.
Is the correct answer, yes.
Yeah, Gates Barbecue is great. It's unbelievable. What was the first part? You kind of threw me off.
The first part is coaching in the best arena on the planet. And what do you want from the fans?
Oh, just excitement, like they brought all year. I mean, before the Corona happened and the COVID, the fans were great. Just being in the arena and the support that they have for the team and the excitement. I think when you go out and get, the best product you can possibly put on the floor with Kawhi and PG, went out and got Marcus, Lue and Trez, Big Zoo, Pat Beverly, like putting that product on the floor every single night. And the fans were into it. And they see that the Clippers organization is willing to do whatever it takes to try to win and bring this team to the championship. Playing the Staples Center, it's great because I've won here. I've won in the Staples Center before, so let's do it again over here on the Clipper side.
Next question comes from Adam. He says, thank you. Welcome as our new head coach. And what changes do you plan on strategically changing, both offensively and defensively?
I think offensively, just playing faster. I think being more exciting, playing more exciting basketball, playing with more pace, sharing the basketball, making guys better on the floor, getting the ball from one side of the floor to the next, putting our best players and our offensive players in the best position that they're comfortable in. I think, as a coach, you have to be able to run your system, but you also have to be able to adjust to great players and adjust to players of making them comfortable. So that's kind of what I pride myself on, putting guys in position to be comfortable and play their game, but also playing their game in the confines of the offense.
This next question comes from Scott. Have you had a chance to reach out to Paul George and Kawhi and Trez, Lue, and Pat Beverly?
Actually, they reached out to me. I think after we committed, we agreed to, myself with the Clippers with me. All the guys reached out. They were very excited and, happy for me. Just the love they showed me was incredible, because as soon as it happened, they all reached out and called. Big Zoo's over in, overseas, and he was the first one to, reach out. So just having the team support and them understanding me as a person, me as a coach, it felt really good.
This next question actually comes about Ivica, and it comes from Seth. Do you plan on using Ivica more? I think many people felt that he was kind of underutilized. And also, how can you help develop Landry Shamet?
I think it's all about the flow of the game, but I do think Zoo took a huge step this year. I think unfortunately, passing Trez's grandmother, we had to play Zoo more minutes, and he was able to play in the fourth quarter more. He was able to get the experience and be able to go forward. Now, I understand he can play in the fourth quarter and produce, and I thought it was good for Zoo. The 8 games before the playoffs, and then into the playoffs, he was able to start playing in the fourth quarter and playing more minutes. So that was great for him, especially being young and be able to play in the playoffs, at a high level.
How else can you further Landry Shamet, who we saw a couple of years ago is a very, very talented young man?
Actually, Sam was in the building today working out. I had a chance to talk with him. Just confidence, just be you, just be who you are. Don't look over your shoulder. Don't look over at me, because, I don't coach that way. Like, I want you to be you and be who you are and play free. And the biggest thing with Sham, I think, was just confidence and just knowing, what he can do and play your game and, make shots, and, you can get to the basket as well. So just being who he is and playing free and being able to be comfortable on the floor.
I've got a deep thinking question for you. It comes from Brandon. In life, we seem to have certain experiences where we say, shoot, if I didn't go through that, I wouldn't be where I am today. Is there one or two examples that you have gone through, maybe adverse conditions, that have put you in the position that you're at today?
I think the situation in Cleveland, I think being fired, it makes you think about what I could have done better. How can I be better? What things do I need to improve on? You don't look at it as like, being mad at the situation or what happened. I looked at it as, I got to get better. I need to be better. What can I do? Reached out to a lot of coaches around the league, a lot of people that I look up to, just getting information, gathering information on how to be better and getting better. Because once you stop learning and once you stop wanting to be better, you might as well quit. So for me, it was just a chance to reflect on what I could do better and how I can be at my greatest peak.
Steve, this is a question for you. Is there an update that you can give us on the new arena in Inglewood?
Yeah, we are proceeding apace. We have received the entitlements we need from the city of Inglewood, which is outstanding. There's still a little bit more work to be done with the city. We're still doing parts of the design. They're working on what they tell me are called construction drawings, which are infinitely detailed. I've never built anything in my life. My wife worked on the house where I'm sitting right now. So for me, it's like, whoa, what a thing. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun to try to find the things that Clipper Nation is really will really resonate with and make it, I think about it as a basketball palazzo, the greatest place in the world to play basketball. And I think we'll have some things that get people to resonate with that. If all continues on plan, it'd probably be next summer sometime that we would start construction.
That question, by the way, was from Amy. She also added, "Go Clippers." This is from Johnny, word for word. "We are so excited to welcome Coach Ty. Lawrence, what is the timeline on the season in terms of changing the roster, the draft, and free agency?"
Yeah, well, I wish we had those answers. Unfortunately, we're the league is, as Gillian said, is working extremely hard in figuring out all the different possibilities. What we do know is the league and the Player Association are in talks in terms of figuring out exactly what the salary cap will look like, luxury tax, because you really can't have, there's a moratorium. So you're not allowed to have any conversations with other teams in regards to whether it's related to the draft or trades, because we don't know the rules. And I think once we do know the rules, like every year, we'll always look to make upgrades in every opportunity we can. And I think the one thing we won't do is overreact. We do feel we have a very talented roster. To Ty's point, there were some extenuating circumstances. Yet at the same time, we will look for opportunities to get better, whether it's in the draft, whether it's free agency or via trades.
Thank you. This is for everybody. From Gene, for everybody. "We as Clipper Nation have been through a lot, and we are proud to be here today. What can we expect from this year's Clippers team?"
Well, I feel like I'm half part of Clipper Nation and half part of the Clippers, since I'm not a basketball expert. I'm a fan. And the one thing that I will do my best to insist on from the organization that I know our fans want is that every day we come with all the energy and all the toughness that we can. The grittiness and resilience that it takes to win. Some of the things that, frankly, we lost in the bubble. But we need to come with the passion, the energy, the commitment, the toughness. And that if we do all that, we've got the talent to go all the way. So that's the number one thing I'd probably emphasize, Brian.
Ty, I'll extend that question to you.
How can I beat that? But he's exactly right. Just being tough, resilient, and just having a mindset, that we're a great team, that we're going to win. I don't never talk about the Cleveland days, but it was kind of the same thing in Cleveland, where the situation they've never won before. And, you bring in a great player like LeBron James. It didn't happen the first year. We got there and it didn't happen, but they were patient, and they understood that, it's going to happen. And like the Clippers, just seeing the fan base over the years is how great they were, and, starving for that, that championship and starving for the team to be good. And I think with the team that we have in place now, over the last, I guess 7-8 years, the team in place has been great players. It's been fun. It's been exciting. Now we have to get to that ultimate goal of winning the championship. And I think every night, every day practice, preparing for the playoffs, preparing to get better, preparing to win a championship. That's our main focus and goal, every single night. And it's going to happen.
Ty, thank you so much. Congratulations on a great day for you. Steve, Lawrence, Gillian, also thank you for your time, and everybody that joined us here today. Be safe, wear a mask, wash your hands. Hopefully we will see you in downtown Los Angeles sooner than later. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks all.